What is good, everyone? We're back. The freestyle trick tip is here, and the Waltz freestyle trick tip is going to be a brand new chapter in this thing that is learning freestyle skateboarding. Today, to kind of start off this new series, we're going to be talking about the foundational tricks, getting started with freestyle skateboarding, what to learn, how to do it, and how you can take those tricks and blast off into a brand new world. Got to walk before you can crawl. I'm going to show you today how to do it. Wait, you can crawl before you can walk. I'm new to this whole talking on camera thing. So to start off, we're going to cover 3 foundational tricks for freestyle skateboarding. They're footwork tricks. Now, starting off with a tic-tac. This is a trick that involves lifting up your front trucks and wheels and making short pivots in the backside and front side directions, which actually give you speed and pump you forward. Now, to start this trick, you're going to want to have your back foot on the tail, square on the tail. I like to have my foot just behind the rear truck bolts. I like to have my front foot kind of over the front trucks as well. However, I don't like to let my front foot drift any farther forward than the front 2 bolts. Now, you're going to press down on your back foot on the tail in order to lift up the front wheels. And using your shoulders and your hips, you're going to turn just a little bit backside. Now, once you finish that rotation, you're going to turn your shoulders and hips again while pressing down on the tail again to turn front side. You can keep doing that, backside, front side, backside, front side. You'll notice that if you do it properly, you're going to get a little bit of momentum moving forward. Now, it's important to note during this trick, I'm leading every rotation with my shoulders. Just about every trick in freestyle starts with your shoulders, whether it's tic-tacs or spacewalks or 360 spins. Everything starts by swinging your shoulders in the direction you want to move. So it's important to remember that it's not just your feet doing the work, it's not just your hips doing the work, it's your whole body working together to get these tricks going. You're also going to want to remember not to push down on your back foot too hard. You're only pushing down enough to pick up those wheels ever so slightly. If you press down too much, which a lot of people do, you're going to find yourself doing these big tail stop scoops, and it's just going to be too much motion, too much happening. Tiny little tick and tack. You're not doing a huge sweeping spacewalk, you're just getting a little bit of a pivot. And the coolest part about tic-tacs is that they lead into spacewalks. If you're getting bored with tic-tacs, you're like, man, I've been doing this all day, this is easy. You can start sweeping into them and really getting crazy with spacewalks too. Honestly, learning this stuff allows you to dive into so many other freestyle tricks in the future, but this is important to get down. It's important to get down these basic ones before you start pushing into the crazy spacewalk footwork flip trick territory. So now that we've got tic-tacs down, we're going to talk about monster walks. Now, this is a 180 pivot off the nose, followed by a 180 pivot off the tail. And if you do it the right way, you'll get these smooth, sweeping walks that actually get you speed as well. They're another trick, just like the tic-tac, that can push you forward. Now, I like to set up for monster walks with my back foot on the tail, and basically the same spot that I set up for the tic-tac, right behind the rear bolts. And with my front foot on the nose, just past the front 2 bolts. Now, I want to start this trick with a little bit more speed than the tic-tac, and again, you're going to lead with your shoulders. The shoulders are so important for this trick. You're going to start by swinging your shoulders front side, pressing down on that front foot, and swinging the back wheels 180 degrees around. Now, you'll notice that when I'm doing that swing, when I'm pulling my back wheels around, I'm only pressing down on my front foot enough to just barely lift my wheels off the ground. And my wheels are actually even skidding across the ground a little bit. They're sliding a tiny bit because I'm barely picking them up. Now, if you lean into the front foot too much, you're going to lose control. So it's important to just give a little bit of a push on the nose, press down just a little bit in order to get those back wheels around. Now, once you are rolling fakie, you're going to press down on the tail of your board and do the exact same thing. So you'll be swinging your shoulders the opposite direction while pressing down on the tail of your board now to pivot 180 again. So it's really the same trick twice. Once rolling forward and once rolling backwards. And when you put those 2 180 pivots together, you get monster walks. Now, while you want to have a little bit more speed behind you when you're doing this trick, it's important to take your time while doing the pivot. You don't have to go real quick trying to get as many pivots as possible. You can take your time doing a smooth and clean 180 nose pivot, getting your balance back, and then swinging again backside. You might see the pros do crazy fast monster walks. And while it's cool to go fast and do them real smooth, when you're first learning, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go full bore. It's important to remember that slow is smooth is fast. If you get the motions down, you can develop that kind of comfort with the trick first. They will get smoother and faster as time goes on and as you practice the monster walk. So take your time and really focus on doing it the right way the first time. And if you're having trouble kind of diving into this trick, if you need to kind of step up piece by piece, there's nothing wrong with starting with penguin walks. For those, you're going to start with the same foot positioning we talked about before. However, you're going to do small pivots, kind of similar to the tic-tac, with only maybe like a 45-degree pivot off the nose and 45 on the tail. Again, still leading with those shoulders. All right, where were we? Monster walks, good, chillin'. Tic-tacs, solid. You're like, Mike, I need another trick. I got these. Tail stop shuffle. I honestly forgot for a minute, but we're gonna talk about tail stop shuffles. I've talked about this in previous trick tips. We actually did one on the easiest footwork tricks, but I think it's worth talking about again because it's such an important and fundamental freestyle trick, whether you are a brand new freestyler, brand new skateboarder who's never touched a skateboard before, or you are an old street skater, or maybe young street skater who's been doing it for years and has all of like the ollie flips down. You gotta have this one down. The tail stop shuffle involves pressing your tail down in tail stop, switching your feet, and then bringing your wheels back down. So to begin the tail stop shuffle, I like to have my back foot turned slightly inwards at the end of my tail, and my front foot is also at a bit of an angle just behind the front truck bolts. So I'll start by bending my knees and pressing all my weight down on my back foot, setting the board into a tail stop. That's when your tail is planted on the ground and your wheels are up in the air. Now you'll notice that my shoulders are kind of at a 45-degree angle, but as my tail goes down, I'm actually gonna turn my shoulders so that they're totally facing the nose. From this position, you'll notice my heels on the ground, my tail is being pressed down by the toes of my back foot, and I'll switch my feet real quick. I'm gonna jump off my back foot and switch to my front foot is now pressing the tail down. Now I have my tail pressed down with my front foot, which is now kind of my back foot, right? My shoulders are still pointed towards the nose. What I'm gonna do is bring my feet back down, bring my front foot back down so that all four wheels are back and planted on the ground. Just like we were saying before, shoulders are important. Making sure that your shoulders are leading every rotation and kind of initiating every trick where you're spinning is super important. One thing that you don't want to do when you're doing the tail stop shuffle, trying to turn your feet and turn your lower body without starting with your shoulders just throws off your balance. While learning these foundational tricks, you want to always be focused on how your shoulders need to turn first. So before I even plant my tail down, my shoulders are at a 45-degree angle, already starting to turn front side. By the time my tail is down, they've turned even more. And you can see that my feet are also turning more, right? Now when I do the hop, when I hop from my right foot onto my left foot, my shoulders turn a little bit more at a full 90-degree angle pointed towards the nose. And then finally, when I plant my feet back down, I'm gonna have my shoulders turning the rest of the way a full 180 degrees into the switch stance. I should also mention that while doing the tail stop shuffle, you don't necessarily have to hop. You can do this trick by actually getting that back foot out of the way and then switching your feet. Notice how my back foot is pointed up the length of the board and allows some space for my foot, my front foot, to step back onto the tail. Both versions of this trick are totally valid and totally an option. Give them both a try, see what works for you. Now you can mix this one up a little bit, doing things like tail stop shuffles where you're switching to your left foot and then switching back. You can also switch it up by turning backside instead of front side. That's a bit harder just because you have to, you know, turn away from the board. I'm professional, no big deal. That's also a really great way to kind of reach out, branch out with this sort of a trick. But I would definitely say start off with the 180 shuffle. Start slow, start doing it the right way, take your time, And don't feel like you have to rush through any of these motions. As you get better on your board, as you get more comfortable and these tricks start to flow more for you, they will smooth out, but be mindful of how your body is leaning, how your weight is being distributed over the board, and don't rush things. Now, these are all foundational tricks. Getting these down and taking time to learn things like the tic-tac, the monster walk, and the tail stop shuffle are going to lend themselves to learning every other trick we cover in this series of trick tips. So taking the time to learn these is going to be huge. If you have any other questions or think I didn't cover any of these deeply enough, definitely leave a comment below, DM me on Instagram or message me wherever you can. Send me emails to let me know what you need help with. And if you get a chance, if you've got all of these down, get a clip of you doing all three in a combo. You can even add your own little flair to it and we'll repost it. Go out, get it done. I'm gonna get a couple more clips of tricks like this and other similar tricks that you can kind of branch off into and tricks you can look forward to learning once you've got these down. And we'll see you next time. Keep dancing.
Just looking out for your best interest. I could really test your patience, and I don't want to keep you waiting if you're meant for greatness. There's a sunny day with ostentatious memories to be made. There's a funny place where aimless youth are promised to be saved. There's an altered state where things are great and you remain unfazed. Another misadjusted man of mystery, off the scent, another victory. Falling down a slope so slippery, pants around my ankles. Won't go to parties, talking's torture. Posted up in the corner, keeping thoughts of fame and fortune